this video, I'm going to go over some ways we can use the seated good morning for the sake of thoracic mobility. By doing this drill seated in a box in the straddled position, we put a lot more emphasis on the thoracic and lumbar mobility as opposed to the hamstring stretch, which is typically the emphasis in the standing version of this drill. Using this context, the goal is to focus on lumbar, thoracic, and cervical extension. The box, the hip positioning that's straddling, is designed to lock out the hips in such a way where I can do that safely without excess movement where I don't want it to be. Now, something I want to draw attention to as I do this, watch how I push my hands down, and as I draw this big circle in front of me, my eyes are going to follow until the point where they can't. I'm going to place my palms flat against the back of my scapula, and I'm going to end up in a position where I'm essentially looking up. Once I have that position, that's when I begin to hinge with two general goals. One, that I'm trying to draw my body forward. I'm hinging forward versus down per se. And then two, that I maintain that flattening of the upper back that happens because of this position. Notice. Now, there are a few options on how to progress this depending on what you want to accomplish. If the goal is to get flatter, your chest closer to your knees for the sake of, let's say, a pancake split or for pikes and things like that, one of the things you can do is add a small load behind your shoulder blades to help you go deeper into that position. The thing to emphasize here, though, is if you're going to do this, one, the setup is basically the same. Notice I'm doing a small curl, I'm raising my hands over, I'm putting the weight behind me and doing the motion. This is going to be a light weight, okay? This is not going to be the weight you curl or press overhead. This is just enough load to give you something to feel as you sink deeper into the stretch. It is very possible to hurt yourself doing this with a heavy load, so do this conservatively. Always stay sub-fatigue threshold and make sure the quality of the reps aren't compromised. And then as you get better at this, you can add more load, technically, although realistically, if you're doing it in this variation, the way you progress is going to be to lower the height of the box, which I'm not demonstrating in this specific video. Now, another option is you can add the load behind you. Right? And in doing this, what ends up happening is you can emphasize much more the thoracic extension component. What ends up happening is you're not going to hinge as deeply, but you're going to feel some resistance in going forward. And because of the forward focus plus the resistance going behind you, what ends up happening is you get facilitation in your thoracic extension, which if that's what you want, congratulations, here's a way to do it. Similarly, you want to do this conservatively. You shouldn't be treating this like a load for lifting per se. What should be happening is that the extra resistance facilitates your technique. Technically, if you're doing this right, either adding the dumbbell or adding these resistance bands behind you should actually make the job easier, not harder. There you go.